Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know. The further one goes, the less one knows. These are both sayings that you've probably heard before, either from your parents, coaches, or even your teachers. But did you know that they are from ancient Chinese texts? Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the basic history, ancient texts, and everyday applications of Taoism. To get a better basic understanding of Taoism, you must first know where and how it all started. First, I will talk about the history of the religion. When you look up Taoism, you will notice that there are two different translations of the name. There is Taoism with a D and Taoism with a T. That is because when translating Chinese to English, there are multiple ways to translate it, but there are two most common ways. The first is the Wade-Giles translation, and that is how you can translate the name into Taoism. They use romanization to get that name. And then the Han Pinyin translation uses the Western alphabet to translate the name into Taoism with a D. From Hing Kaoyang, from Chinese Religions, History of Science and Religion in China, he says that Taoism as a religion can be traced back to ancient China, especially to Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu is traditionally believed to have been born an old man and to have wrote the Tao Te Ching. Zhuangzi is also traditionally believed to have been a disciple of Lao Tzu and to have written the book The Zhuangzi. Although when researching this topic, I had found conflicting ideas on who wrote what book and when. Fabrizio Pergaggio in Taoism says, the Tao Te Ching was not only written by Lao Tzu, but a collection of different authors and ancient oral traditions. He also says that the Zhuangzi's inner 7 chapters were likely written by Zhuangzi himself, but the rest was written a couple decades later. The Tao Te Ching and Zhuangzi are both important texts, and they both explain the way of the Tao. Second, I will explain these ancient texts of Taoism. As previously mentioned, the Lao Tzu is said to have wrote the Tao Te Ching, and it's one of the most important texts to date. As stated by Zhiming Zhao in the Encyclopedia of Anthropology, a combination of poetry, philosophical reflection, and mystical speculation of some 5,200 words. It is also said to have been the most translated classic of second to the Bible. As you can see here, I showed a couple of the different translations and book covers of the Tao Te Ching, and you can see at the bottom left that the Tao Te Ching is the Wade-Giles translation of the book. The Zhuangzi, author of the second most influential Taoist text, from the New Dictionary of the History of Ideas, says that Zhuangzi is one of the masterpieces of Chinese literature, and it's different from the Tao Te Ching. Again, here's a couple covers of the book. It consists of stories, anecdotes, and reflections. Even though there are hundreds of Taoist texts, these are just the most well-known. But don't forget that there are multiple other kinds, but these are the two that have been the most influential over time. Even though there are two different books, they have the same view of the Tao. Lastly, I will talk about Taoism and the everyday applications of Taoism. The Tao means the way, and according to the Encyclopedia of Anthropology, the Tao is the key to real appreciation of Chinese worldview on universe, society, and life. Adding on to this, El Shaki of Khan Academy says that the Tao is the natural way of the universe, and that Taoists strive to be in harmony with this order. The Tao is not tangible, but a feeling to do what is socially right and to not go against it. Taoists believe in doing this, they can avoid suffering and achieve eternal life. They are also very big on clarity and stillness. They may do this through meditation. They are very go with the flow and do not want to disrupt their Tao or other people's Tao. For example, if you got angry, you have then just disrupted your Tao because you are no longer clear and still, but dark and angry. A way you may have experienced Taoism in your life and not known it is through the yin and yang. The yin and yang, as Fabrizio Pergaggio from the New Dictionary of the History of Ideas says, that in Chinese cosmology, the yin and yang are two opposite but complementary principles that regulate the functioning of the cosmos. He also mentions that one yin and one yang, this is the Tao. This means that yin and yang are constantly switching to achieve a perfect harmony. For example, day and night, or with multiple different things, the 4 seasons. They're constantly switching to be in perfect harmony. Taoism is a very complex religion, and I've only skimmed the surface with just telling you guys about the basic history, texts, and applications. There have been a lot of conflicting information. When I've been researching, I couldn't find a definitive date for anything. So, if this has interested you, I would suggest you looking into it for yourself. And lastly, I will leave you with a quote that I mentioned in the beginning of this talk. The further one goes, the less one knows.